Okay, so I'm going to go through these two examples with you, and what I'd like you to do is try it on your own first, and then work through the problem on your own until you get stuck, review the video, retry it on your own, until you can completely do it from top to bottom on your own a few times. Then go back to it a little bit later, try it again on your own to see if you can get it. So, finding the maximum or minimum means that you need to find the vertex. So basically when it says find the maximum or minimum, it really also means to find the vertex. So that's important to know because it needs to be in vertex form. So in order to complete the square, you need to make sure that you do not have an a value. So we're going to factor out the a value by dividing the first two terms by -5. Okay, so factoring out by -5. I'm going to rewrite y equals -5 in the front. -5 divided by -5 is 1x squared. And, excuse me, when you do -10 divided by -5, it gives you +2. Now don't forget the x over here. Okay, that's a common mistake. So all I did here is I factored out the -5, and I can just show my work on the side. -10 divided by -5 is equal to +2. Now I can't forget about my units at the end, so I'm just going to rewrite them right at the end over here. They don't really affect my problem. So now I can start completing the square because my a value is 1. So I'm going to go ahead and take these two x tiles, so 2, and I'm going to divide that by 2 because I need to create a perfect square. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. Then I need to find out how many units I need to fill up that square, and 1 squared is equal to 1. So I take those units and I go ahead and I complete my square. And what that means is I actually complete a perfect square trinomial. A trinomial has 3 terms. So x squared is the first one, plus 2x is the second one. Then I'm going to do plus 1 to complete my square, and minus 1. So if I add 1, I have to make sure that I don't just add 1 without taking 1 away. So I close my bracket, and I put plus 2 at the end. So here I have my perfect square trinomial right here. So this perfect square trinomial needs to be factored. And you say, well, what times what gives me 1? The answer is always the one that's in the bracket up here. So here you're just going to rewrite y equals -5 bracket x plus 1, and you have 2 factors of x plus 1. That's why it's to the power of 2. Now we need to make sure that we take out this -1. So in order to take it out, you need to multiply it by the -5. So I'm going to write that down, -5 times -1. I'm going to put the units at the end. Okay, so just so you can see that. And then we're going to continue doing the work. So since we can do -5 times -1, we're going to go ahead and do that. Just rewrite the rest of the equation. -5 times -1 is +5. And you just put your other 2 units at the end. Then you just simplify. So basically this is equal to y equals -5 x plus 1 squared, and then plus 7. So this is vertex form. You may need to state the maximum or the minimum, so you need to look at if this parabola opens up or down. Based on this a value being equal to -5, we know that this parabola is open downwards. So if you just make a quick sketch, you know it opens down, so it has a maximum value. So we're going to have to tell what maximum value that actually is. So the maximum value, or you can just write the max value. Don't forget that it's y equals something. Now, the x value, which is -1, is the axis of symmetry. The y value is right over here. So when I say what my vertex is -1 and +7. You have to make sure to give me the y value, not the x. So the maximum value here is y equals +7. And this is what I'm looking for. So again, I suggest that you retry this on your own, follow the steps, make sure that everything is there, and that you're comfortable doing it by yourself. Then you can move on to question B. For question B, you have to notice that the a value here is -2/3. This means that you cannot start completing the square right away. You have to cancel out that -2/3. Another word for canceling it out, you have to factor it out. So we're going to go ahead and divide the first two terms by negative 2 over 3. So divide the first two terms by negative 2 over 3. Now the first division is kind of easy because anything divided by itself gives you 1. So we're going to put that negative 2 over 3 in the front, and negative 2 over 3 divided by negative 2 over 3 is x squared. Okay? So from here, we have to do negative 1 divided by negative 2 over 3. And I got that negative 1 because that's the number that's in front of the x. So we're going to do negative 1 divided by negative 2 over 3. This equals negative 1 times negative 3 over 2. You can just keep the negative at the top and it doesn't really affect anything. Negative 1 over 1 times negative 3 over 2, multiply the tops, then multiply the bottoms. So negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3, and 1 times 2 is 2. So we know that negative 1 divided by negative 2 over 3 gives me positive 3 over 2. So that's going to be helpful when you need to complete your square. So we're going to go ahead and just move this. It's just in my way. Okay, so x squared, and we said that negative 1 divided by negative 2 over 3 was positive 2 over 3. So plus 3 over 2. And don't forget the x. Don't forget the units at the end. And now you're ready to start completing the square. Why? Because your a value is equal to 1. So that's really important to know that this is the point where you start completing the square. So I have my x squared tiles, and I need to decide how many tiles I need on the side and on the top. I need the same amount on the side and on the top, which means you're going to take your 3 over 2, and you're going to divide that by 2. And 3 over 2 divided by 2 is actually saying 3 over 2 divided, or times, 1 over 2, because we multiply by the reciprocal. Now, 3 over 2 times 1 over 2 is equal to 3 over 4. 3 over 4 squared is equal to 3 times 3, which is 9, and 4 times 4, which is 16. So at this point, 9 over 16 is the amount of tiles that you need to complete the perfect square trinomial. So let's go back to our problem and rewrite it. So we have y equals negative 2 over 3, x squared plus 3 over 2x. So this is my first term, my second term, and my third term is going to be plus 9 over 16. But if I add 9 over 16, I have to make sure to subtract 9 over 16. Close my bracket and put the units that are left over at the very end. From here, you've got your perfect square trinomial with the first three terms, and you have to say what times what gives me positive 9 over 16. Well, 3 over 4 gives you 9 over 16. So there's your answer to the factors of your perfect square trinomial. So this equals negative 2 over 3, x plus 3 over 4, twice, so it's going to be squared. We're not done yet, because we need to multiply this negative 2 over 3 times negative 9 over 16. So we're going to show that work being done. So negative 2 over 3 times negative 9 over 16, and we're going to put the positive 2 units. I'm just going to move some stuff around here so that it's not, again, in the way. Okay. Okay, so I've rearranged my my numbers so that it's not in the way. So make sure you do your work on the right side, otherwise you're going to run out of room. So we were at this multiplication here. When you multiply fractions, you multiply the tops, then you multiply the bottoms. Nothing else changes to the other equation, so you don't need to change that. And negative 2 times negative 9 is positive 18, and 3 times 16 is 48. Now we're going to add this by 2. Now as you notice, this fraction can be reduced. They're both even, so what we're going to try to do is reduce that fraction. And I know that they both divide by 2, so we're going to go ahead and do that work. Okay, so we now have y equals negative 2 over 3, x plus 3 over 4, squared. And 18 divided by 2 is 9, and 48 divided by 2 is 24. So now I know that it doesn't reduce anymore. So we're going to try to add this fraction here. Now to add fractions, you need to put the 2 on a fraction. So to put any number over a fraction, it's over 1. And we're going to need to get the bases the same. So we're going to multiply the 1 by 24 and also the top by 24, because whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So now we keep going. Negative 2 over 3, x plus 3 over 4 squared. And 2 times 24 is 48. I'm going to go ahead and do this work on the side here. So we have 9 over 24 plus 48 over 24. And 9 plus 48 is 57 over 24. So we end up with positive 57 over 24. And this is the final answer, except that you need to state the maximum or the minimum. Now remember that the vertex is the opposite of your x value. So your axis of symmetry is not positive 3 over 4, it's actually negative 3 over 4. And it's the opposite because the h in the formula is negative, and your k value is positive 57 over 24. So this is your vertex, but that's not what the question is asking for. It's asking for a maximum or a minimum. And because this parabola is opened downwards, and I know this because in the original question, the a value is equal to negative 2 over 3. And since it's negative, this means that your parabola will be opened downwards. So we're just going to sketch that real quick. When a parabola is opened downwards, it means that it has a maximum. Okay, so when it has a maximum, we have to write, therefore, the maximum is, for the max value is, don't forget the y equals 57 over 24, and you're done. So that's what this question looks like. Yes, it's long. There are quite a few steps, so I really suggest that you redo this as I go through it, and then redo it on your own to make sure that you're capable of doing it independently. Repeat it as many times as you need to. Don't just do it tonight. You'll have to do this a couple times, and if you need extra help, just let me know.